This is a brief update, number 38, on my N-scale layout, and also I'll talk a little bit about some projects that I've been working on recently. About 2 weeks ago, I was looking for some decals, and of course I found them in the last place I looked, which is always the case because you stop looking once you found something. So even if you find it in the first place you look, it is always the last place you look. And in my case, I did not find these decals in the first place I looked. I had to go through several boxes of assorted model railroad paraphernalia. And in the course of doing that, I came across a number of projects that I had either partially started or not started. And I kind of said, gee, I should really work on some of those now that I've got some time. So after I get done showing you these few N-scale layout changes, I will talk to you about some of the projects I've been working on. As you can see here, I've staged the car with the two front end loaders by the equipment company, and there's a couple of guys there either looking at the front end loaders, maybe inspecting them for damage or discussing how they're going to offload them off of the rail car. Other than that, down here I've got a guy on the scaffolding. Looks like he's touching up the come and go sign there. It must have been a little bit weathered, so he's repainting a portion of it. And finally, this is actually an N-scale layout update, but also one of my projects. I had this cement mixer partially completed, so I finished that and painted it. And also I discovered that I didn't have a windshield in the other front end loader that I put together years ago, so I added windshields to both of them, and they didn't come out that great because the windshield material that I had was kind of old, but they look okay from a distance, so they'll have to be good enough. So anyway, I've got one more cement truck to provide service to the residents of my little town. So those are basically the updates on the N-scale layout. And the other projects that I've been working on are mostly HO stuff. As you can see here, this truck has been hanging around for quite a while. So I finished painting that and gluing it together, and I had to make a back bumper for it. So in the course of doing the back bumper, I added some mud flaps and some lights, and that little kind of white spot there you can see is actually a license plate that I also added. And I did add a coal load, and you can see on the top here there's some white spots. I put too much glue in it, and I think that those will eventually disappear once the glue totally dries. But if not, I'll just get out some black paint and paint them over. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens. Other than that, I had this box car that I had started a long time ago and quit, I think because some of the details are really great, but they're also very fragile. So anyway, I finished putting it together, and since it was all plastic, it was too light, and it was about 2 ounces too light. So I went through my hundreds of nuts and bolts that I keep for emergencies and found 2 lug nuts that each weighed 1 ounce apiece, and glued them on the inside of the boxcar over the trucks, and then finished gluing the top on. So now that boxcar is ready to go. I don't really need another boxcar on this layout, but I've got that just in case I ever want to run it back and forth. Other than that, I do have, this is not something I worked on recently. This is a caboose that I painted several years ago. It was a Pennsylvania caboose, but I stripped it and then I painted in the club colors of the Model Railroad Club here in Casper. It's currently residing temporarily on my layout, but it'll be going back to the club layout in the near future. So anyway, that's the updates and the projects that I've been working on. I hope to dig out a few more projects and work on them and let you know about them in the upcoming weeks.